And on that note, we're about ready to play some basketball. No one who saw it is likely to forget it, at least for a while. The other night, what Kobe Bryant did at the end of regulation in Los Angeles. It will look one way forever. That shot will always drop in on videotape, but it could have sounded a lot of different ways.
La tiene. ¡Gol! I don't believe what I just saw. A three. Yes. Holy cow.
Whoa, Nelly.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Oh, my. He did what? Well, the ceremonial tip in Los Angeles, you had James Worthy and Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So Isaiah Thomas leading the bad boys out, not to be outdone here in Detroit.
No, John Sally is out there, and Rick Mahorn, and Benny Microwaves Johnson, who drove us crazy as a player.
And Isaiah, who is now the president of the New York Knicks, has come back for a little reunion. Pistons winning 2 championships back-to-back, 89 against the Lakers, 90 against Portland. So all of Southeast Michigan is ready. The Palace has been rocking. And Karl Malone, the question was, would he even suit up tonight? And here he is starting.
There was no doubt that he would suit up, and there, you know, how effective he will be, we'll see. But the Samurai Warrior is wearing the knee brace, which he said he didn't want to wear.
And this would be the 3rd game in a row in which O'Neal jumped the gun on the opening tip. Each of the 3 games has begun about as unceremoniously as you can possibly begin a basketball game, with a premature jump.
They should just give it to the Pistons to start the game.
Right. So Detroit will inbound in the 4th quarter as well. Next time, Doc, he'll steal the ceremonial tip. Chauncey Billups guarded by Payton at the outset. Into Ben Wallace, who's guarded initially by O'Neal, and he'll shoot over Shaq and bank it in.
Now, I don't think the bank was in question when he let that go.
Once in a while. Pistons home, hoping for good fortune, and that's an immediate dose. Now Payton from the outside, in and out. Rebound to Rasheed Wallace, who gives it to Hamilton, and Hamilton's pass inside for Ben Wallace is too high and out of bounds.
And again, you can see what the Pistons are trying to do. On every miss, they're going to release one of their bigs. They believe that they can beat the Lakers back down the floor and score easy buckets. Larry
Brown, who said after the game the other night, we were crushed. That was in an emotional sense. As Shaquille O'Neal misses his first opportunity tonight, Ben Wallace over to Rasheed, the unrelated Wallace. Hamilton outside, he's guarded by Kobe Bryant. Rasheed is guarded by Karl Malone. Works on Malone, has it swatted away. The ball is loose and picked up by Devin George in backcourt. Offense sets, Bryant out at the point. Malone gives it back to Bryant, and his first effort of the night isn't even close. Ben Wallace gets another rebound. Minute and a half into the game. Ben Wallace with the 2-pointer. And underneath to Rasheed Wallace, and that gets the crowd really going.
Well, instead of posting Rasheed Wallace, I think you're going to see him in a lot of pick and rolls. And it's not about Shaq tonight. I think it's more about Karl Malone. The Pistons want to see how well he can recover, how well he can move.
Bryant from O'Neal and missing. Now Billups. Prince is free. Offensive rebound, and that one doesn't go from Hamilton. And Payton will bring it up the floor for Los Angeles. 4-0 Detroit. The Lakers have begun the game 0 for 4 from the field. Here's Bryant losing the ball. Prince was on him. Now Billups through the lane and a foul on his way to the basket. Devin George with the foul. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, now, well, I spoke with Lakers trainer Gary Vitti before the game. He told me that part of Karl Malone's pregame preparation was a machine that injected medications at intervals, analgesics and anti-inflammatories to reduce the pain and swelling in that knee. And, Doc, you said it. He didn't want to wear the brace because a samurai wouldn't wear one. But Kobe Bryant and Gary Vitti ganged up on him. Kobe will always be willing to wear something like that. And so finally, Karl Malone relented, saying, look, if Kobe will wear one, I'll wear one. So another battle won by Kobe Bryant. Now let's check in with Stuart Scott.
Michelle, the Detroit Pistons were crushed and heartbroken by their Game 2 loss. Their words, but it's done. Reality has set in. Larry Brown told me before the game, basketball is basically about three things. You got to play hard, you have to try and play defense, and you have to share the ball. He said, we played hard. We did not, all of us, try and play defense, and we didn't share the ball. He said, Kobe's shot is not what beat us. The fact that we did not do all three of those things, that's what lost the game for us. And he looked at me and he said, I preach this to my team, and he said, there are guys in the locker room that believe that, Al.
And right now, Chauncey Billups is fouled in backcourt. Meanwhile, while we were getting the report, you saw Billups go to the free throw line. There was a question. Initially, it was ruled a non-shooting foul, and Ron Garrettson, Mike Callahan, and Dan Crawford got together, determined it was a continuation play. It was a shooting foul, so Chauncey got those two. Then the foul here is a non-shooting foul, and Detroit has it. And Wallace loses the ball. Malone is able to steal it, and it's out of bounds off the Lakers.
Yeah, now that's the second time they've tried to post Rasheed Wallace up. That's the second time that Malone has gotten his hands on the ball. Rasheed Wallace has to be a little more patient. I think what he's trying to do is rush it. He knows Malone cannot move the way that he usually moves, but you have to be patient in this.
As in any sport, you're going to go after the guy who's hurt. Two more for Hamilton, and Detroit has begun the game in almost a perfect fashion. If you're going to get over the hangover of a gut-wrenching loss, what better way to do it than to start out 8-zip?
Yeah, and they have, and you can see, and now, like I said in the opening, I didn't think it would bother them as much as people thought. You know, again, they're coming back home, they're in front of their home fans, and they really do believe that they outplayed the Lakers in L.A. in both games.
I think the Lakers might agree to that, too. O'Neal with a resounding dunk, and now a foul away from the play. So the Lakers' first basket of the night is a Shaq jam. Foul is on Kobe Bryant. His first. Lakers with 3 team fouls. Non-shooting, Tayshaun Prince. Inbounds. Billups is at 2 big nights. Gets free. Got it. Long 2 and an 8-point Piston lead.
Well, one of the things that Larry Brown told us before this game is that we didn't run enough pick and rolls, and you're going to see a ton of them tonight.
Bryant whips it over to Payton, quickly into the corner. George now gives it to Malone and gives it back to Devin George. But he gets contested. I think Ben Wallace got a piece of it. Now free from the outside. Billups puts it up and doesn't get it. O'Neal, quick outlet to George. Payton feeds George again from the outside. And that's a 3-pointer. So the Lakers are now within 5, and that's Walton standing up, a guy who figures to see some fairly early action, I would suspect.
We might see him again. I just got a hint of, I think was, you know, look at this game, 10-5. How many shots have Detroit had wide open already? And if you're the Lakers, I don't think Phil Jackson is very happy. Even though they're only down 5 points, at some point, these open shots are going to go in.
It's almost like toward the end of Game 1 when we had the mic in the Detroit huddle, and Larry Brown said, guys, they're not guarding you. You get any shot you want here.
And right now, and so far in this first quarter, that has happened.
Lakers already have 4 fouls, and the Pistons have none. Shaq has to come out for Hamilton, who then goes by Bryant. Doesn't get the bounce. Malone gets the rebound. Payton pushing it up. Bryant, Prince on him. Kobe tries to get it underneath, and it winds up going out of bounds off the Pistons. Actually hit the rim, so they get a fresh 24. Hit the underside of the rim and then off Detroit. Here's Malone. 2 for Carl.
You knew he would make the first one. It was almost a wheel shot for him, but that's where he has to get. You know he's not going to give you anything on the post. I don't think his knee will allow him to do that, but he can still make that standstill 15-foot jump shot.
The shoot around today, Malone did next to nothing. Didn't do very much at practice yesterday before the Lakers boarded. Hamilton drives and goes all the way into the layup.
Detroit has come out with a ton of ball pressure early, and it's effective right now. It's really taken the Lakers out of their offense. One of the things Larry Brown wanted to do, he didn't know if he can come up with steals, but when you run the triangle, you use clock. Larry Brown is trying to force the Lakers to use clock and then end up with the ball in someone else's hands besides Kobe or Shaq.
There's one trend in this series as the Lakers inbound, and Wallace commits the foul, and foul trouble in the first 2 games has put him on the bench for a good part of the first half. And Doc, when the 5 starters have been matched up for each team, the Detroit starters have dominated the Lakers starters. Yeah,
well, really, for the Lakers starters, only 2 guys are doing anything right now offensively, and that's Kobe or Shaq.
Bryant to George. He missed the 3. Rasheed Wallace clears it. Phillips will drive. Then to Prince. Payton comes over to double him. Scores anyway. Left-handed, 14-7. Steve. As O'Neal gets 2 more, 14-9.
When he's making shots like that, very difficult to stop him. But I think Larry Brown would live with that. As long as they stay with the other 4 guys, let Shaq go one-on-one. That's exactly what the Pistons want.
Pistons take the first time out of the game. Good start for Detroit. They're up 14-9 at home. The Palace of Auburn Hills. Finals being played here for the first time since 1990, when Detroit won its last championship, knocking off Portland Trail Blazers. And, of course, this year, finishing 2nd seeded in the East, knocking off the top seed Indiana. And now, trying to go up 2 games to 1. In Game 3 here, Game 4 here, and 5 as well. Prince misses. Lakers trying to cut the lead. George inside to O'Neal. O'Neal working on Ben Wallace. And then Malone underneath to George. Karl Malone threading the needle.
I tell you, he's been effective already. You know, his leadership, more importantly, he's making shots. He's getting to the right spot on the floor, and that was a great pass.
Ben Wallace. Rasheed. And then Malone with a rebound. Bryant with the drive. Underneath to O'Neal, who puts it in.
I tell you, every time the Lakers get penetration, Shaquille O'Neal's man has to come over to help, which frees him up. They can either shoot or just throw it to the rim. It's an easy bucket for Shaq.
Pistons started 8-0. Their lead is now down to 1. Under 4 to play in the opening period. O'Neal gives Wallace room. This time the bank doesn't go, but the follow does by Hamilton.
But there's proof, Al, that that first shot was intentional.
I guess. Either that or he said, I'm on to something.
Yes.
Bryant, after whirling his way to the lane, ball winds up with O'Neal underneath to George, and he has to volleyball it back out to Kobe. 7 on the 24. Payton with 3 on the 24. And then Wallace has the rebound dislodged, but on a foul on Devin George. That's his second.
You know, I'm watching the interchange of the players out on the floor, and one note needs to be made. It's they're in penalty already. That's why they're going to the free throw line now. But Kobe Bryant walks right over to Gary Payton and told him, that was my fault. You missed that shot. I passed it to you too late. It's interesting. They are really trying to get Gary Payton off.
Payton hasn't scored a point in the first quarter in this series. Detroit's in the bonus, and Ben Wallace, a 49% free throw shooter during the regular season, hits that one. Log on to the NBA store on NBA.com. Lots of good stuff there. NBA store only on NBA.com. And here comes Luke Walton. It's Luke in L.A. and Boo at the Palace.
Sounds the same. Luke should just take it that way.
Right. Devin George coming out of the game with 2 fouls. O'Neal gets the rebound after Wallace makes 1 of 2. Pistons by 4. 3:15 remaining first quarter. That's deflected by Prince, but O'Neal got it. Now Bryant, 4 on the shot clock from way outside. And Hamilton skies for the rebound. Hamilton, long 2, got it. Skidded a little bit on the floor, but was able to rebalance himself and puts it in, and the lead is 6 again.
Yeah, and if there's any adjustments that's been made, the one by Detroit is every single possession. They're pushing the ball up the floor, trying to explore and get a quick, good shot.
Malone open again. Misses his second shot. Chauncey Billups. He's picked up by Walton. Rasheed Wallace guarded by Malone. Over him, in and out.
Good possession, though, by Rasheed Wallace. That's what he needs to do. Be more patient.
Here's Malone driving all the way. Carl goes down, looks for a foul. All that contact, no call. Billups couldn't get enough on it. Payton comes away with it. Under 2 to play in the period. Payton slowing it up. Bryant looks inside to Malone. Carl gets fouled, and that foul is going to be on Rasheed Wallace. The Karl Malone saga is a pretty good one. The other night in L.A. in Game 2, here's how he hurt himself. You see him just outside the paint. Comes out of the game in consultation with Gary Vitti. They tell him to go back to the locker room. He only goes that far. Not quite down the hall. Comes back. Then again, the conference continues. He wants to get back in. Clearly. Vitti reports to Phil Jackson through Frank Hamlin. And then before the night is done, Doc, and as we look at the guys who played the most games, Malone and his teammate John Stockton are 1-2 and Perkins is 3. Before that night is done, not only does Malone come back into the game, but people forget he's the guy who inbounded the ball on the Kobe basket at the end of regulation. Yeah, and he made some nice plays. I thought it was pretty interesting, though. You watch Carl go almost to the tunnel, almost to the locker room, and his wheel just turned him around, and he decided, you know what? I'm going to play in this game. Nothing is going to take me out of it. There's Rasheed sitting with his 2. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, Malone isn't that concerned about whether or not his knee gets any worse by playing tonight. He said, when I consider what's at stake here, if this truly is the last season for me, what am I saving myself for? As long as I can play with my kids and do the things I want to do when this is all over with, it's totally worth it to me. It's just 3 more wins.
I don't know if that's a message or not, whether he'll retire, but I can understand what he's thinking.
Oh, I think that's what he's thinking. I really do. I really believe this is the last time we'll see Karl Malone, and I really believe that's the reason he's playing.
Lindsey Hunter as Detroit goes to its bench here, and Hunter from outside. This will be a 3 if it goes. It doesn't. But Hamilton is there to throw up an air ball, and then Eldon Campbell comes up with it. So Hamilton stays in, as does Ben Wallace, but Campbell comes in. Corliss Williamson takes the shot here, and then the follow is no good. Campbell coming over the top, and the foul underneath on the Lakers.
And one of the things that Larry Brown said he was going to do was when he saw Luke Walton come in the game, he was going to match him up with Corliss Williamson and attack Luke Walton. He gives Luke Walton all the credit in the world offensively. He said the kid is a smart basketball player. He's one of the few other Lakers that can create, but we're going to attack him and make him play defense and get him off the floor.
Campbell makes the first 6-point lead. Derek Fisher is going to make his first appearance. Gary Payton, who's been blank thus far in almost 11 minutes, comes out. Campbell, a 69% free throw shooter during the regular season. Makes it 21-14. Biggest Detroit lead was 8. They led 8-0. About a minute to go in the period. With the clock at 17, the Lakers to inbound. Meanwhile, through this quarter, Bryant has not scored. George has 5, O'Neal has 6, Malone has 3. Walton outside to Fisher. 7 on the shot clock. Derek launches one, makes it from inside the arc.
He is such a clutch player. You know, we all count clutch buckets at the end of a game and final shots. To me, clutch is when your team is down 7 in the first quarter, you need a bucket, and a guy comes in like Derek Fisher, steps up and get to that bucket.
And he saves his best for the best. He's played in 4 finals as Hunter lays it off into the corner. Williamson will pass up the shot and then whips it behind his back. And Larry Brown just aged about 15 years.
Yeah. I don't think that's taught at the Larry Brown basketball school.
Uno. Larry loves to say, do it the right way. And he's so angry with what just happened there to go to the bench and make the substitution. And, of course, it's the guilty party who comes out.
Yeah. Was there any doubt that the guilty party was coming out? I do think this is more of a defensive stub. And I think if Luke Walton is in to start the quarter, Corliss Williamson will be back. But before he comes back, he's going to get a message.
He's going to get a message. Serves a little bit of time in jail.
You know, I'm looking at the scores, 21-16. And that score to me has not changed for end of games. If the Pistons play defense like they've done all year, Larry Brown believes that if they can score between 85 and 90 points, that they will win the game.
Kareem Rush in the game for the first time, and Darvin Ham is in the game for Detroit. Rush misses the 3. Hunter has it, 6 seconds to go. Hunter lays it off for Prince. Big one. Well, that's what the crowd was looking for, because Detroit had an 8-0 lead. The Lakers cut it to 1, and there is nothing like ending a quarter when the crowd is ready to explode with a bomb. Bryant, no points. Hamilton, 8 points. And 4 rebounds as well. Good start for the Detroit Pistons. Al Michaels, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott. The Game 3 winner in the history of the NBA Finals has gone on to win, as you see, 27 of the 31 series. So this is a tremendously important game. And also for Phil Jackson, Doc, when you look at Phil, when he has a lead in a series, in any series that he has coached, in any round of the playoffs, he's 44-0.
He has so many great numbers that I don't look anymore. I mean, every one of them, he's undefeated when he wins the first game in a series. I mean, he has just had an amazing run as a coach.
If that run continues, I'll tell you what, they've taken a few years off his life. And this game starts out in that same manner for Jackson. It's going to be uphill because Detroit had a good first quarter, and the Pistons are on top 24-16. O'Neal starts the second period on the bench.
I find it interesting that Karl Malone is still in the game. I think what Phil Jackson is thinking is they're really worried about taking him out of the game, because once he gets cold, he may not be able to return. And the halftime will be interesting.
And the very interesting thing, Doc, too, is that if you're going to take him out of the game with Rasheed Wallace out of the game for Detroit, this is a good time to do it.
Yeah, it is.
Hunter. Swatted all the way out by Malone, but too far, and Lindsey Hunter is able to corral it for the Pistons.
I will say this, Al. I understand what Phil Jackson is doing by keeping Malone on the floor. I also understand what he's doing by going small. But with Malone's injury and not being able to move the way he usually moves, he can't go to this lineup very long, or they're going to get destroyed on the boards.
In fact, Shaquille O'Neal's going to come in. Campbell goes to the free throw line. Foul that time was on Walton. He makes the first. Here's Stuart Scott.
Al, the Pistons have always been a loosey-goosey bunch pre-game. They were even more so today. Corliss Williamson's 8-year-old son was in the locker room. One teammate calling the little kid Little Nasty. Corliss himself joked, "I'm going to teach him the game the right way. He's going to be the dirtiest player around." And Rasheed Wallace, who's usually got headphones on, not saying anything to anyone, he was having a spirited argument with ESPN's Stephen A. Smith about boxing, jumping up and down, laughing and yelling how Mike Tyson is the people's champion. If Detroit is emotionally deflated from Game 2, then to a man they all deserve an Academy Award for the dramatic portrayal. Now,
is there any other type of argument with Stephen A. that you can have, Doc?
No, none that I want to have.
Here's Corliss Williamson, and the whistle before he gets the shot off. And the foul here on Kareem Rush.
It's interesting. Karl Malone goes to the bench. The Lakers stay small, but they bring in Shaq. See, this is a better lineup, at least in this fact that you have a rebounder out on the floor with you. Karl Malone usually is a rebounder, but when you can't move, it's tough to rebound.
Hunter guarded by Fisher. 6 on the timer. Williamson finds it, gives it to Ben Wallace. He dishes it off, but we've got a whistle before the pass and the subsequent dunk by Campbell. Foul will be on Shaquille O'Neal, and that happened with about a half second left on the 24-second clock.
Yeah, Luke Walton is doing a nice job of roaming right now, and that foul was basically Ben Wallace just throwing his body into Shaq, almost forcing the officials to call the foul.
Clock was reset at 14 on the inbounds. Williamson underneath. Got it.
There is no way that Kobe Bryant is going to guard Corliss Williamson down on the post, especially when you think that Kobe already has one foul and they're concerned about him picking up foul.
Shaq bouncing it out to Walton. Wallace comes out to pick him up, and then softly from the lane it doesn't go. Detroit gets the rebound.
See, they're going to make Luke Walton a player tonight. You know, they were not prepared for him the first time around. He wasn't even on the board, but they are tonight.
Ben Wallace to the hoop, and Walton fouls him on the way to the basket, and that's 3 fouls now on Luke Walton.
Well, 3 fouls because, Al, again, the other night they wasn't prepared for him to come in. Tonight, Larry Brown told us before the game, when Luke Walton comes in, we're going to attack him. We're going to make him play defense, and that's what they've done.
And they've attacked him to the point where Walton has played only 5 minutes and has 3 fouls and has to come out of the game, and that brings Slava Medvedenko into the game for L.A. Wallace at the free throw line. Well short that time. Ben, as we mentioned, he and Shaq about the same types of free throw shooters, all-time worst during an NBA regular season. Well, that's a dubious distinction to hold, but some pretty good company anyway.
Yeah, you know, I saw Chris Dudley before a game one time miss 10 shots in a row, and then he was finished and walked off. So I thought he was working on missing 10 in a row before he left.
It was almost an air ball, but it just kissed the rim.
Wow.
And then the Lakers throw the ball away.
You know what's going on right now. Detroit is back to playing Detroit defense, and the Lakers are back to being inconsistent defensively. This series is not about Detroit's defense to me. It's about how well the Lakers can defend.
Nemanokur comes in. He has the ball. Big man from Turkey replacing Ben Wallace, and Williamson takes the pass and scores. 29-16 Detroit.
They didn't hear me. There's no way that Kobe Bryant is going to guard Corliss Williamson down on the post.
Lakers with no offensive rebounds. This is the largest lead for either team in any of the 3 games. And this will be a defensive 3-second call, which results in a technical. Here's Michelle.
Well, guys, L.A. has been out-rebounded 20-10 so far. And after the Lakers came to the bench for their last time out, Phil Jackson lit into them about boxing out. Guys, in Game 2, Shaquille O'Neal failed to pull down double-digit rebounds in an NBA Finals game for the first time.
In the second game, they were still able to win the game, of course. And Kobe Bryant has just scored his first point of the game. So with Malone sitting, it took Kobe 14 minutes and 41 seconds to get on the board, and it took a defensive technical call to do it. And now a foul on Hunter, Lindsey Hunter. Non-shooting. Look at Kobe's numbers. Detroit up by a dozen. A little over 9 to play in the first half. Shaq outside to Fisher. And out of bounds, and Williamson couldn't grasp it, so the Lakers will get it. No shot attempts for him in this quarter. For 1 point on that defensive 3-second call, which resulted in a technical foul. Fisher all the way through the lane. Offensive foul.
And you can see here, that's the Detroit Pistons defense right there. They're a positional defensive team. They try to keep the ball in front, but when they are beat, there's always someone else to get their back.
Here's Campbell, 6 on the timer. Fisher bouncing it into O'Neal, who gets doubled and fouled.
And that's as well as I've seen Shaquille O'Neal run the floor. I mean, right when they got the rebound, he went tearing down the floor, put his head up under the basket, and knew that he could get great position. I mean, look, he's the first big back. That's rare that you see that. But when he does it, it's indefensible.
That was on Campbell. Medvedenko almost had it taken away by Okur. Now O'Neal working on his former teammate Campbell. Lindsey Hunter clears the glass. Hamilton works off the screen. Medvedenko, nice job defensively, and then Hamilton with the offensive foul, knocking Fisher down. So Fisher got an offensive foul on one end and Hamilton on the other.
Well, Derek Fisher is the best. You know, we should give him the title. He is the best. He's the best flopper, but he's also the best at taking charges, and that's what makes him so difficult. You don't know when he's doing one or the other. That one, he took a charge. The next one will be a flop. Makes it very difficult for the official.
So if you had a vote for the Oscar, would it be Fisher or Ronnie Divac?
I think I go to Fisher. It was Divac.
Kareem Rush gets the bounce. 29-19. You see, it's the Hollywood connection. You play in L.A.
Yeah. Acting school.
You win the flop Oscar. 7.5 to go, second quarter, 10-point Detroit lead.
You know that's a golden ball also.
Yes. Blocked. Williamson had it rejected, and now Fisher's going to feed Rush. Bryant slips underneath, but there's a whistle in front of Phil Jackson and a timeout. Phil calls a timeout. The Palace at Auburn Hills. The hitman, Tommy Hearns, is in the crowd tonight. Also in the house, Barry Sanders, who will go into the Hall of Fame. In fact, on August 9th, in a couple of months, Monday Night Football returns from Canton. Sanders Elway, how's that for a pair? The Lions head coach, Steve Mariucci, and his good buddy, the Michigan State basketball coach, Tom Izzo, here as well. So the Lakers now down by 10 after the timeout. They had 17 on the timer when they inbounded. Rush has it from the corner. Fisher, he can't knock down the three. Williamson gets the rebound. Campbell bounced it inside. Rush got his hand on it. Clock at 6. That's knocked away by Medvedenko, but Hamilton gets it back. Now to Okur, and he misses, so they used the full 24 as the Lakers had 3 near steals on the possession. Bryant still looking for the first field goal of the game. That lean. Tries for the separation initially, then has to throw it to Rush, who can barely keep it alive. 5 on the clock. Underneath, Fisher tried to lob it into O'Neal and hit the top of the backboard. Okur is guarded by Medvedenko.
That was a
pass shot, whatever it was. Here's Fisher. All the way, misses the jam. Phillips back for Detroit. So Derek goes all the way in, hits the back rim, and then Phillips can't get it to drop it as a foul. Chauncey got hit in the eye.
I've seen games where Shaquille O'Neal haven't touched the ball. It's rare you see a game that Kobe Bryant doesn't touch the ball.
Kobe Bryant right now 0 for 3 and 1 for 1 from the free throw line. He's going to take a seat. Here's Stewart.
Al, the Pistons pride themselves on holding teams under 20 points in a quarter. In game 1, the Lakers were under 20 3 out of 4 quarters. They lost. Game 2, Lakers 20 or more in 3 out of 4 quarters, and they won. There's 5:45 left in the second quarter of this game, and the Lakers still have not cracked 20 points. They're on 19. They had 16 after the first quarter. 3 points in about, I would have figured out, Al, but my math isn't that good.
Well, Doc's is.
Yeah. That would be 76 points, mark that math right now, if it stayed this way.
It's fascinating on any level, even without the numbers, just to watch it and watch what's going on as O'Neal misses the little jump hook in the lane. Detroit will try to expand the lead, which is now 12 points. 5:20 to play, first half. Hamilton coming off the pick and roll, tip back up, and then O'Neal is there for the rebound.
You know, you watch the game, the Pistons right now are getting every shot they want, and it's rare that the Lakers get any shot that they want. That's the difference of the game right now.
Pistons tied with San Antonio for the best defense in the league, which means the fewest points allowed. They've each allowed the same number of points. Prince. Way short. Payton comes out of the pack. Blind pass to George. He spots up for 3 and gets it.
Devin George has come to play tonight, and they need him. I mean, he is basically, for the Lakers, a spot-up shooter.
George has 8 points and leads the Lakers. O'Neal has 6. Bryant with just 2. Timeout is called by Detroit. They'll take a 20-second timeout with 4:22 remaining in the first half.
You know, it's interesting. Larry Brown called a timeout for one reason, because Devin George got an open look. You know, they have 21 points, and this is why he's all about defense. He is ripping Rip Hamilton right now because Rip Hamilton didn't get back and find Devin George on defense. And only 3 attempts.
Here's Michelle.
Well, guys, there were 3 injuries that Phil Jackson was concerned with tonight. Obviously, Karl Malone's, but also Derek Fisher, who is also suffering a sprained medial collateral ligament in that same right knee. The third one is Devin George. He slightly sprained his left ankle in game 1 of this series. On top of that, he's got a bruised left knee. That ankle is bothering him, but maybe not so much tonight, guys.
Rick Fox is also another guy you can add.
Yeah, with injury. And, you know, the one injury that nobody talks about that I think has really hurt the Lakers is Horace Grant. You know, he would have been the backup power forward for this team. They didn't even put him on the playoff roster because of his injury.
So he's been sitting in a Natalie-attired uniform every night. Brian Russell, another guy on the bench, but he hasn't played at all in the finals and barely at all in the playoffs as Hamilton works the baseline. And then Kareem Rush comes down with a rebound. 4 minutes to play. Lakers have shaved the lead to 9. Medvedenko, guarded by Wallace, gets it back. O'Neal all the way And it's a 7-point game. It's the first time I can remember Medvedenko passing up 2 shots in 1 possession.
It slipped. You won't see it again.
Pistons are 0 for their last 7. And the foul on the Lakers here.
In this last basket by Shaquille O'Neal, there's power moves and there's power moves now. That is an absolute power move. He was going to get that bucket no matter what.
The Diesel in Detroit. Foul was on Rush. It's his second. Hamilton at the free throw line.
Shaquille O'Neal, people have no idea, and even me as a coach, I don't, how powerful he is. I mean, it's so frustrating to coach against him because you tell your guys, hold your ground. Hold your ground. You keep seeing them bounce off. And as a coach, you get frustrated. You don't understand why. But when you sit here and look at it, you kind of understand why.
There's audio that accompanies him coming down the court. It's like being in a car outside a crossing gate along a railway. It's just like a rumble. Bryant for 3. Kobe still without a field goal. And then a loose ball foul. And Eldon Campbell hopping up and down. Hates the call. Foul on Campbell is his second. Lindsey Hunter's going to check back in.
Yeah, that's a good call. You know, it's funny. When I watched it live, I thought it was Shaq they got away with something. It was really Campbell who was hooking first. And the refs caught the first one instead of the second.
Nine-point Piston lead. Bryant. Prince on him. Doing a heck of a job on him. And throws it away.
You know, last game, Rip Hamilton guarded Kobe Bryant a lot. And Tayshaun Prince got upset at Larry Brown about it. And so Larry Brown has now put Prince back on him. And it's had an effect so far in this game.
Great performance by Prince. Bryant, 1 point in 19 minutes of playing time. 3 to go in the half. Campbell, the reverse. Couldn't get enough on it. Wallace's tip doesn't go, and Medvedenko clears it. Bryant driving on Billups. Gets doubles. Leaves Payton open. Now Medvedenko open for a 2. He's short. Lakers hitting 33%. Billups drives. Tip doesn't go. Racehorse basketball now, and rough. Bryant slows it down. Then Wallace comes all the way out, leaving Medvedenko free again. And sooner or later, he's too good a shooter to miss that many in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things he can do. It's not like he doesn't want to shoot anyway, but he can shoot. And when he gets open once, he'll knock most of those down.
Prince. Gary Payton does not have a point in this period. At the free throw line is Prince. Mike mentioning the lowest scoring first half in NBA history. The Lakers as an individual team are right now in jeopardy of establishing a new mark, dubiously. 30 points by a team is the lowest single team totals. Prince misses 2 by the Nets last year in Game 3 against San Antonio. Lakers right now at 26.
I'd like to make a point, though, about the Pistons. It seems like every time the Pistons are in a basketball game, all of a sudden the team they're playing has bad offense.
Right.
There's a reason for that, and that's great defense. I'm watching this game, and the Lakers are struggling. But they're struggling because they can't get a shot off. Every shot's contested, and that's why they're struggling. So I think we should give a lot of the credit to the Pistons and their defense.
There's no question, because that's how they win. That's how they won a lot during the regular season. That's why they're here, and that's why right now they have a chance to go up 2 games to 1. O'Neal with a jump hook from the lane to make it a 5-point game.
Having said all that, they're down 5 points and right back in this. Tom Tobin making a great point now. The Pistons have had opportunities, and they have blown it.
Well, they're 0 for their last 10, and they finally get off that mini schneid as Hamilton drives to the hoop. 35-28.
That's an oxymoron. I said Tom Tolbert made a great point.
You are the new king of contradiction, Doc. And O'Neal is there for the follow. 35-30, Devin George up and cheerleading along the Laker bench.
Well, they are, because they know that this could be a 15-point game. The fact that they're down 5 points, they are really fortunate.
Phillips. Pistons up by 7. Payton works it into Shaq. Ben Wallace guarding him. Fisher from the baseline. Make it 37-32, and now Detroit can take it down and play for pretty close to the last shot.
Yeah, and the last 3 buckets have all been set up by Shaq. Shaq on the first 2, and then that one was because of Shaq.
Hamilton threw it up, got fouled. Goes to the line. You know, Doc, one thing about the Pistons and the way the Eastern Conference plays, you hear everybody say, it's ugly, it's terrible, I hate the game. You know, fans are always complaining about athletes not giving their all. After watching the Eastern Conference playoffs, how can you say that every player on every possession didn't give his all? As you know, more energy is expended on defense, and these guys made every possession hugely important.
They made it a war. I mean, now they played so hard. I remember sitting here doing Game 6, and I actually said, I hope there's not a Game 7.
Yeah.
Because they have nothing left. And you're right, both of these teams. I mean, the Lakers have been inconsistent defensively, but the Pistons are all about defense. And defense, anyone can play defense. Defense is all about effort, and that's what the Pistons are doing.
To draw an analogy, it's almost like if you're a baseball fan saying, I hate a perfect game. I want to go to a game where they have 11 home runs. So I guess you can't appreciate what Randy Johnson does. I mean, that's defense, or you can't appreciate what a great NFL team
Chicago
does.
Bears are what you're looking for.
Well, you know, I was looking for Bears a long time ago. I was the Baltimore Ravens in 2000. But if you love the game, it's a matter of the effort and all of that. And so, you know, I guess it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But this is not a beauty contest.
No, it's not, and it's not going to be. As long as the Pistons are in this series and are making this competitive, this is not, speaking of defense right there,
right.
John Smotes, this is not going to be a pretty, if this becomes a pretty series, then it's a Laker rout. I can tell you that for sure. John Smotes is not only a great pitcher, he's one heck of a golfer.
I understand.
And from Detroit.
And from Detroit.
Yes.
So Detroit up by 6. This is the second of 2. Hamilton, after a 22nd timeout, was taken to set up the play. The defense right here. O'Neal with an 85-foot lob. And then Payton gets off a shot at the buzzer that doesn't go. But at least they got the shot off from the corner. The Detroit Pistons rolled out to an 8-0 lead at the outset of the game. Have held the lead throughout the first half. They have been led by Richard Hamilton with 14. The other big story in the quarter would be Kobe Bryant, held to 1 point. 7-point differential at the half. Let's go to Stewart.
If I listen to all the radio talk shows, Rip Hamilton, you guys were supposed to be emotionally crushed. What psychologist did you go to?
Oh, man. I mean, Coach did a great job of getting us prepared to come out tonight. You know, we wanted to just come out and just play with a lot of energy and feed off our fans.
It's obviously a great defensive job you all have done in the first half. How have you done it?
Just staying connected. You know, I think Game 2 was at times, you know, we didn't play as 5 on defense. And tonight we're just trying to help each other on all parts of the court.
It looks like you guys have won perfectly, but what do you say about an 0 for 10 shooting stretch?
Oh, man, it happens sometimes with Detroit basketball, you know, when we defend. And we keep defending the way that we are doing right now, we'll be in good shape.
All right, Rip, congratulations, man. Good luck in the second half. Al, let's go back to you.
The reason Kobe Bryant is not getting the ball is, number one, is Detroit Pistons defense, the pressure. They're taking them out, the Lakers out of their offense. And number two, the Lakers are not executing their offense. You can see it. Phil Jackson has used at least 2 timeouts in the first half to try to correct it. And if they don't correct it, they're not going to win the game.
39-32. You saw the graphic indicating that in Game 3 against Minnesota in the prior series, Bryant had no points in the first half of the third game and 22 in the second as the Lakers won in L.A. So here we go, Lakers inbounding to begin period number 3. Gary Payton, who did not score, with a little whirl move, and then O'Neal begins the second half of the Lakers with a slam dunk to make it a 5-point game.
And really important again, the Lakers come out of the locker room, they attack the basket. Every time they get dribble penetration, Shaquille O'Neal's man comes to help. Shaq gets a dunk.
Off Wallace. And again, Wallace now back in the game to start the second half. Same thing has happened in all 3 games. As you take a look at it again, Wallace with 2 early fouls comes out, has not played at all in any of the second periods.
Again, he's well rested.
Prince. Pistons ended the first half cold, 0 for 10 at one spell. Missed their first shot here. You have the 10 starters now, the same guys that started the game earlier. And we mentioned before the Pistons starters, as Wallace makes the steal, the Pistons starters mano a mano with the LA starters have dominated.
And again, the reason for that is everybody on the Pistons team, the starters minus Ben Wallace, can score. Right now, only 2 of the scorers are on the Lakers starting lineup.
Prince with the basket to make it a 7-point game.
Right now, 1. Because Kobe's not scoring.
Here's Devin George from 3-point land. Phillips lofts it for Hamilton, and he's right there. Perfect pass, perfect finish. That's a 9-point game.
But you know what happened? Devin George complained about his shot. While he was complaining, Rip Hamilton was running, and Devin George just gave up 2 points.
Malone. Bryant has to give it back to Malone. Underneath, here's Shaq. And Shaq got free because he threw Wallace down. So the offensive foul on Shaquille O'Neal.
It's funny. We were talking to Larry Brown before the game, and he said Shaq has gotten away with 2 pushes so far. I think they saw that one.
Yes. That one they call as the 3rd foul on O'Neal. O'Neal 3 fouls. Walton and George each have 3 fouls. Nobody for Detroit with more than 2. Phillips gets a screen from Wallace and cashes it.
I tell you what defensively that I don't understand. All series thus far, the Lakers have chosen to go underneath on Chauncey Billups, and he's making them pay.
That was a 3-pointer, and then Bryant misses that shot, and Prince says he can't pull on the knees. His first.
The one thing you never want to do, Al, is put a great scorer who is struggling on the foul line to give him 2 chances to warm up.
Prince has such an angelic face, it would be hard to call a technical foul.
It really would.
He can get away with a little bit more. Here's Bryant making the first. Now, if that's Payton, he's already been teed up, right? And so Kobe Bryant knocks down both. So in one trip to the free throw line, he doubles what he had in the first half. 2 points there, a total of 3 in the game, and a foul here on the Lakers on Gary Payton. His second. Prince inbounds. Phillips with the drive. Throws it up and it goes. It counts and he's fouled.
See, now that's twice already in this half that Chauncey Billups has scored in the pick and roll. The first one they chose to go under. That one, Gary Payton decides, well, I'm going to fight over. The problem is if you fight over and the big man doesn't show, then you're going to get a free trip to the lane. That's exactly what Chauncey Billups just did. Chauncey Billups is playing terrific basketball in this series.
13-point Detroit lead. Whistle underneath. Callahan calling the foul here.
You're right. I'm looking at Rasheed Wallace talk to Mike Callahan, and you feel a little bit different about Rasheed than Tayshaun.
Right, and Rasheed was pleading Ben Wallace's case. The foul was on Ben. Lakers inbound. This equals the biggest lead of the game. Malone gets that one down to 11.
Yeah, you know, Karl Malone, once he went out in the second quarter, never returned. I'm really interested to see how he moves coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Phillips loses it. Devin George took it away underneath the basket. Malone. Here's Payton. Gets the roll. Gary Payton finally gets on the board. Gary a scoreless first half.
I really believe in this series, at some point, Gary Payton is going to have a breakout quarter or game.
Here's Phillips. Three-pointer for Chauncey Billups.
Again, pick and roll. Payton goes under. Chauncey Billups makes him pay. He shoots the ball too well to go under on him.
Here's Bryant. Still can't get it to drop.
Three guys ran that Kobe on that last shot.
Rasheed to Hamilton. Followed by Prince. Jackson has to take a timeout. Pistons are red hot. One of the big matchups in this series, Doc was talking about Chauncey Billups. When Billups and Payton have been on the court together, Billups has scored 49 points. Payton has scored 7. Doc talking about Chauncey Billups. He called him the X factor in game 1. He certainly was. Went to Colorado, and then Boston picked him early, but he didn't last there very long. He goes to Toronto. He winds up in Denver. He plays for Doc in Orlando, but was hurt the whole year. Then he goes to Minnesota, finally over to Detroit. A guy this good, why did he move around so much, Doc?
Well, I think it took him time to find his niche. When Chauncey Billups first was drafted, people thought he would be a pure point guard, and when he showed that he wasn't, I think a lot of guys were very impatient with him. Now, I think here in Detroit, he's kind of found a home. They understand he's not the perfect point guard, but he's a heck of a basketball player, and they're just going to let him be that.
Kobe gets pressured. Kobe puts one up and finally knocks one down. Kobe Bryant makes his first field goal about 4.5 minutes into the third quarter.
But even on that, there were 3 Pistons coming around, putting their hands up. You remember the Bad Boys created the Jordan rules, Al. I think there are some Kobe rules going on in the game this evening.
And Ben Wallace from Rasheed Wallace.
Everything is the pick and roll in this game for the Pistons. That's how they're scoring their points.
Bryant behind his back from the lane. Can't get it to drop. Rasheed Wallace. Here's Prince. Bryant couldn't steal. Way outside now to Hamilton. Billups has 9 points in the quarter, 17 in the game. Chauncey resets it here.
And now they're going to put Kobe Bryant on Billups.
Call the foul on Bryant. Back to the pick and roll that Doc talked about.
I mean, everything is set up from the pick and roll. Right there, you see Karl Malone show. Shaq has to stay with Ben Wallace. When he leaves him to go to Rasheed Wallace, then Ben Wallace is wide open. Now, the reason why Ben Wallace is open is because Karl Malone couldn't move quick enough to get back to him.
Saved by Rasheed. 6 on the clock. Has that one knocked away by Malone in a 24-second violation.
Well, I look at Detroit and I look at the score, and I still think Rip Hamilton's playing pretty well tonight. Chauncey Billups is playing great, but they still haven't gotten enough productivity out of Rasheed Wallace, and yet they're up 14 points.
Rasheed Wallace has just 2 points and spent, again, the majority of the first half on the bench with 2 fouls, and it's taken away by Prince. 10th Laker turnover. Underneath, ooh, that would have raised the roof and knocked it down as well.
Again, the reason why Rasheed Wallace was so wide open was because of the pick and roll. You know, Karl Malone is given a valiant effort, but I'm really worried about his knee, and I don't think he's moving very well. And I think he's really hurting the team right now because he can't move.
O'Neal just picked up the foul, and that is 4 on Shaquille. Wallace misses the first. Sunday night, back here, that's the 4th game, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific time. Game 5 then comes your way on Tuesday night from here. And if a 6th game is necessary, it'll be a week from tonight back in Los Angeles. So the middle 3 games here, LA would host game 6 and if necessary 7.
I think it's interesting that with 6 minutes only gone in the 3rd quarter, Phil Jackson just took Karl Malone out. I think he was thinking the same thing we were thinking over here.
It's the coach's fraternity, right? Bryant. So he has 2 field goals now in about a minute and 45.
Well, the adjustment that the Lakers have made is they're giving him more ISOs and spreading on the opposite side of the floor, so at least he can see the help coming. Another pick and roll.
Oh, and he missed it, and then Medvedenko gets the rebound. Medvedenko in the game. First Lakers sub here in the 3rd quarter. George spots up for a 3. Medvedenko tips it to himself. Now Payton. Gary for 3. That's short. Prince for 3. Prince again. He'll drive this time. Got it.
That's one thing that Tayshaun Prince has done a great job of in this series, is attacking the baskets. The Pistons believe that they are more athletic than the Lakers, and they can take them off the dribble at any time.
O'Neal lost the ball. Stolen away. George tried to steal. Couldn't. Hamilton is free for 3. Make it 2. He was just inside the arc. 60-44, just inside. Crowd on its feet. Detroit by 16. Bryant doubled in the corner. Has it taken away. Chauncey Billups has it. Crowd uproarious. Hamilton. Air ball, but Wallace is there. George retakes it for LA. Devin for 3. Way off the mark.
You know, it thought it was too much time. 9-10 seconds is too much time to make that foul because they believe that the play can continue. You know, so it's funny though. All those coaches split right down the middle. Pretty interesting. It could have gone either way. It was not just one decision.
Yeah, I agree, because in the sense that it wasn't a game-ending foul. It wasn't as if there were 3 seconds left in the game and you could end the game. Even if you send O'Neal to the line, let's say he made the first, he clanked the second, they get the rebound as Hamilton misses that shot. There were a lot of ways that the Lakers still could have won the game. And, of course, there's the Larry Johnson situation from years ago when you foul him and he makes a 4-point play.
Yeah, once Kobe got the ball, they couldn't foul. That was for sure.
Fisher from the corner. Got it. By the way, another post-mortem on that game the other night. The Lakers became the first team in the history of the finals to win a game after trailing by 6 or more points with 36 or fewer seconds remaining in the history of the finals. So they did something unprecedented the other evening.
And again, Derek Fisher comes into the basketball game and makes a clutch shot.
Prince lays it off, and there's Walton for the steal. He gets doubled in the corner, and timeout is called before he can be tied up. 22nd Laker timeout.
And now I'm looking right now at Brian Cook and Luke Walton out on the floor. Now, Luke Walton proved his mettle the last game. That's why he's out on the floor. He's a rookie. Brian Cook has not played much this year, was injured at the beginning of the year, and the reason he's on the floor is because of injury. Karl Malone being injured, and more importantly, Horace Grant being injured. And so now they're down to a rookie, depending on him in a big game in the finals.
And the Lakers have depended on a lot of different players. It's been Kareem Rush, who's been a star along the way. Medvedenko has had his moments. Of course, Derek Fisher has had his moment of moments. There's the lineup next, except on the West Coast, as we resume here with 2:43 remaining in the third. Detroit took an early 8-0 lead, and they've been on top all the way. Right now, the lead is down to 13. The Lakers with Brian Cook, the rookie, on the floor. And Cook misses.
That was nerves. That was like a rookie fighter in the ring with Mike Tyson. You can see he just grabbed and looked and shot it.
Maybe he looked over and saw Tommy Hearns. Hamilton. Rasheed Wallace guarded by Medvedenko. Cook gets the rebound. Now to Walton. First time in the playoffs that these 5 guys have played together. Medvedenko misses. Ball will go out of bounds, and it will go to Detroit. The Lakers right now with Fisher, Bryant, Medvedenko, Cook, and Walton. So those 5 have not played it as a unit. Corliss Williamson comes in for Detroit.
That's not a good call. I can tell you that. We had a pretty good seat on that one.
Yeah.
That ball should be going the other way.
And that's what Phil Jackson is contesting here. So right now, these guys on the floor have accounted for only 16 of LA's 47. Lindsey Hunter, who won a ring as a Laker a couple of years ago, but has spent almost his whole career with Detroit. Wallace. Bryant went up and helped get the rebound. Meanwhile, Fisher goes down and now gets up, and Walton brings the ball into the front court. Cook gives it back to Walton. Drives through Wallace, lays it in, 60-49.
You know, some people have great first steps that don't have great quickness. Luke Walton is one of those type of players. He has an amazing and explosive first step. Not a very quick player, but he has that, and that's what gets him open.
Little change of pace. And Prince has the ball knocked away and out of his hands. Pistons still have it, but they have only 7 on the 24. Here's Michelle.
Guys, I talked to Luke Walton. He told me earlier that even though he was told before game 2 he'd be playing, he was really nervous as he got ready to enter the game. He said once he got out on the floor with his teammates and things started to happen, he relaxed pretty quickly. He added that here in his very first finals, NBA Finals, he has no words to describe the experience. It's been beyond his expectations, leaving him a little bit speechless when I asked him to describe it. And Doc, I'm sure you can remember your first NBA Finals.
Yeah, I was sitting in street clothes for the first time. But, you know, I do understand, Michelle. And, you know, think about Bill Russell. And all the games he played, he threw up before every game because of nerves.
Well, it's your first finals as an announcer, so you threw up before the game the other night, didn't you? Tim McCarver told me he was far more nervous announcing his first World Series than playing in one.
Well, that's because it's not his comfort zone.
Shot clock malfunction. That's the reason for the delay here. It's back to 7. Hamilton has it knocked away by Medvedenko. The clock still rolling, and from way outside, Prince was forced to put it up. Ball is loose. Hamilton gets it, makes it, gets fouled.
That foul is a huge play. And you know the biggest part of that play was Tayshaun Prince's shot nicked the rim. If it doesn't hit the rim, then it's a 24-second violation. By nicking the rim, it kept the ball alive, and Detroit's effort gives them a three-point play opportunity.
And a very big play. Otherwise, the Lakers have a chance to get it into single digits before we start the fourth quarter. Instead, it's 13 right now. Make it 12 right now. Going on 13 if he makes it, which he does. 21 points tonight for Hamilton.
He's played much better. I thought the first 2 games in L.A., he was really trying to force the issue.
Bryant misses. It is a 14-point lead, 63-49. So Kobe launches one. Now Detroit can do some clock milking here.
Kobe was trying to get the Lakers a 2-for-1.
2 possessions to Detroit's 1 using the clock. Instead, now Detroit can almost run it out. 5 on the shot. Prince bought some room. Less than 6 now. Derek Fisher's going to go all the way to the hoop and throw in the reverse for the layup. And now Ben Wallace will launch one from deep in backcourt, and that will be the end of the third quarter. Palace of Auburn Hills outside Detroit. Al Michaels, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott reporting. Bryan and O'Neal tonight a combined 21 points. Meanwhile, Rip Hamilton alone with 21 points. The Lakers have shot 41%. The Pistons have shot 39%. But Detroit has a 12-point lead with 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, and the Pistons defense all night has been terrific. I really think one of the changes the Pistons have made, where in game 1 and 2 they were guarding one-on-one. In this game tonight, anywhere Kobe Bryant has gone, there's been 1, 2 to 3 players helping out on defense, very much like the Jordan rule.
Very much. Campbell on his way to the hoop gets fouled. Non-shooting. Shaq starts the fourth quarter on the bench.
And again, exactly what Larry Brown said he would do. If you put in Luke Walton, he's going to put in Corliss Williamson, and he's going to make them make Luke Walton guard. So now they have a choice. Either Corliss Williamson or Rip Hamilton is who Luke Walton has to guard.
They attacked Walton earlier, and he picked up 3 very quick fouls. 4 on the shot clock. Williamson attacks, throws up a wild one that misses but gets fouled.
And you can see the drive here, and Cook's just late getting there, and that's why it was not a charge. Pretty easy call right there.
So Williamson to the line on the foul by Cook. You can register to vote for the NBA Finals, or NFL. Give me 2 months.
There we go.
The NBA Finals. Right there. There's all the information you need on your Verizon wireless phone.
I'm sure you can get tickets and messages to the NFL too, Al.
No doubt about it. You want to go to Canton? Williamson makes them both 65-51. Detroit on top by 14 early in the fourth. Winner of the game goes up 2 games to 1. Walton.
Wow.
What a pass to Fisher, but it doesn't go. Tipped up by Medvedenko, and that doesn't go. But the Lakers keep it. Fisher has it, drops it on the end line.
You look at the lineup that the Lakers have on the floor. I mean, they're going to spy Kobe Bryant. Derek Fisher is really the only other offensive option on the floor. I don't see how the Lakers make a run here with this lineup. It's going to be very difficult. They're going to have to do it with their defense.
Bryant ran into a good pick set by Campbell.
And I think that's what Phil Jackson is thinking.
Kobe reaches in for the foul. That's Bryant's third foul. O'Neal comes back.
Yeah, I think he's saw enough.
Yeah. Cook's goose is cooked, at least for the moment.
Yeah.
Campbell backing in on Shaq. O'Neal gets the rebound. Again, O'Neal has 4 personal fouls. He's the only guy in the game with that many. Fisher has it blocked by Hunter and then out of bounds.
Every time Lindsey Hunter has come in games, he's made an impact for this basketball team, and most of it has been with his defense and his energy. Look at the help that they're having on Kobe Bryant. Chauncey Billups was standing at the top of the circle, paying no attention to his guy, just waiting. Look at Chauncey Billups at the top. He's just waiting. You see him there at the bottom of your screen. He's just waiting for Kobe. They've done this all night, and it has really affected Kobe Bryant.
8 on the clock. O'Neal. Rebound. Look at Hunter in the middle of that forest. Come down with it and get fouled.
Now he's done it every time. The littlest guy on the court right now has the biggest heart. He comes in, he lays his body out on the line. He knows he's not going to play a lot of minutes, but when he comes in, he's making the best of those minutes.
What a play. It's 6'2", 195. Almost invisible amongst the big guys and makes that play. Lakers 25 fouls, Pistons only 10. Let's go Pistons is the champ. Hunter dishes outside. Will he get an assist on a 3? Yes, he will. Hamilton.
Lindsey Hunter.
68-51.
Lindsey Hunter made that entire play.
And Campbell with the steal, and Campbell gets it from Hamilton. Can Medvedenko stop him? No, he cannot. And for anybody who thought that the Detroit Pistons couldn't recover from that wrenching defeat the other night, just take a look at the score.
Their pressure defense, they're pressing the Lakers all over the floor. They're pushing the ball up every chance they get, and they've adopted a new defense called the Kobe rules, and it's had a huge effect in this game and on the Lakers. But this is all about, this whole game is all about what Detroit has done all year, and that is their defense. They're scoring off of their defense tonight.
Bryant and Fisher go out. Payton comes in, so does Kareem Rush. O'Neal. Rebound Medvedenko. Campbell thought he had his block, but he didn't. Foul.
You know what's really neat? Elton Campbell, the last couple of years, Al, has been a guy that has gone from different teams. A lot of people, the whispers was that he has lost his emotion for the game. And I'm watching him play right now like he's a 2-year-old kid. He's getting excited. He's playing hard. It's amazing what winning and a chance for a championship will do to players.
No question. It's the greatest dosage of anything you can have, winning as an athlete.
It is, and you know, I'm sure Elton Campbell is thinking right now when he was young and with the Lakers, he probably thought he would be in this every year. And now he realizes that he never got there, and he's going to seize the opportunity right now.
Lakers right now with 52 points, with 9:15 to play, in jeopardy of establishing for the second time in a week another franchise playoff record, fewest points. Hamilton. Medvedenko has the rebound. 9 minutes to go. Pistons trying to go up 2 games to 1. fourth game here on Sunday night. Only Lakers to go to the free throw line tonight have been Bryant and Malone. Shaquille has not even been to the line once.
Well, I'm going to guarantee you one thing. The next game is on Sunday. You're going to hear Phil Jackson say that 1,000 times.
Hunter. Biggest lead of the game. 8:21 remaining. Fourth quarter, and Auburn Hills in raucous Auburn Hills, Michigan. The Detroit Pistons coming off that loss in L.A. and rebounding resoundingly 72-52. The Pistons got it started all right tonight. 8-0 was their opening salvo, and right now they're up by 20. Outscoring them 9-1 here in the fourth quarter. Shaquille O'Neal with only 2 points in this half. He inbounded with 14. Bryant launches it and makes it. So Kobe Bryant, who had 1 point in the first half, has 9 points now in the game. Bryant putting full court pressure on. Crowd wants a foul and doesn't get it.
You know why people love Kobe Bryant? It's because they're down 18 points. And he's the only one right now, in my opinion, that thinks they're going to win this game. And you saw it right there with his effort on defense.
And when one of your stars does it, if anybody else doesn't do it, you should be embarrassed.
Oh, wow. Little elbow in the back from Shaq. I think it was more that he was trying to defend his body than it was actually an elbow.
5 fouls, meanwhile, now on Shaq.
I'd like to send out our condolences to Brian McIntyre, a true friend of the NBA family, head of communications. His mom, Joan, died. He's a Skokie, Illinois kid from Chicago.
Yeah.
And Brian, we're thinking about you and we're praying for you.
Definitely. Back to 20 it goes, 74-54. 4 minutes gone, fourth quarter. They're working into O'Neal with his 5 fouls. Payton, and Gary makes a 3. Gary Payton makes it a 17-point game. Talking to Phil Jackson earlier today, he had a wonderful description for the Lakers in game 1 when they didn't play very well. He said, we were sod, S-O-D-D-E-N. I think I've ever heard a coach describe it that way. And the foul right here on Wallace, who's furious on Rasheed.
Well, that's because most coaches don't know what it means.
They don't know exactly. So I said to him today, I said, okay, in one word, what was game 2 like? Brown laughing at that call. He thought for a second. He said miraculous. We'll ask him again before game 4. This is liable to be Gomorrah. So he's had a Sodom, a miraculous, 2 horribles, and a great. That's one trip you don't want to make, from Sodom to Gomorrah.
You have me looking at words in the dictionary. My mom told me I should go to class more.
That was Shaq's first free throw of the game.
I tell you, look at the game right now, and obviously it looks like it's out of reach. But the one thing the Lakers do have on their side is fouls. The Pistons are in the penalty with 7:27 left in the fourth quarter. And that might be the only way the Lakers can score. And I don't know if the Pistons won't defend that.
Missing the second. Prince with the rebound. Phillips gets doubled. Phillips has it stolen. Payton to the hoop. Lays it off underneath. Bryant with the jam. So now it's 15.
So you can see right now, Kobe Bryant and Gary Payton and Luke Walton are pressuring all over the floor, trying to take the Pistons out of their offense.
Bryant playing with just amazing energy. Here's Hamilton. And nothing like a three to stop that energy flow.
See, that's why it's tough to make runs. When you got a team, you move the ball, eventually someone's going to make a shot.
Shot clock era now 50 seasons old. Lakers never below 70 in a playoff game. Here's O'Neal. Out of bounds to the Lakers.
Larry Brown is close right now to attack. And I mean close. They're trying to shield him. The other coaches, you see him standing behind. They're trying to like block him out from the official.
Walton is open for a three. And a foul on Walton off the ball. That's Walton's fourth. O'Neal has 5. Here's Michelle.
This game's getting antsy
Al and Doc, not only are the Pistons fans loud here in the Palace, but Luke Walton told me they were loud last night, trying to keep the Lakers from a restful night's sleep. Walton said there were about 200 Pistons fans standing on top of a parking garage across the street from the Lakers hotel, screaming constantly for about an hour around 11 o'clock last night, and cars were circling the block honking and screaming, and finally local police had to come block off the street in front of the hotel and also disperse the screaming fans from the parking the garage. I'm sure none of these Lakers would say that's the problem tonight, but certainly the fans very much on the side of the Pistons here in Detroit. A warm welcome to town, huh?
That's why you need one of those sound machines, you know, crashing waves and all that stuff.
Noise canceling headphones.
Now, it's hard to do that in LA with the Pistons since they stay in Beverly Hills. Those cops will be out there in 8 seconds. Off O'Neal, winds up in the hands of Rush. Rasheed Wallace, Hamilton leads Prince, but too far. So halfway through the fourth quarter, the Lakers, one thing about a 2-3-2, you do get to know the other town. The Lakers come either here for a whole week.
Yeah.
Got here last night, go back next Wednesday morning.
You know, this city, they are so fired up about this team. It's become basketball town, not hockey town. And the Lakers are not going to be welcome in this city. And I like that. I think that's what home court and fans are all about, as long as they do it the right way. I sound like Larry Brown.
Exactly. Do it the right way. Bryant. Rush. Got it from the corner. Three-pointer for Kareem Rush, and the lead for Detroit is 16 points. Sheed is the chant. Chauncey might be the next chant. Tapped out by Prince.
This is the equivalent of a stall. They got it down to 23 seconds, took a shot, got a rebound, and now they're going to burn more clock.
Pistons so good on the offensive boards. They've out-rebounded the Lakers 13-5. And there is a guy who has a lot of those, adding 2 on the offensive end, Ben Wallace. Rush from outside.
You know, Rush isn't shy either.
No. And he can get hot, as the Timberwolves know. 6 3-pointers in the clinching game. Pistons using the clock on this possession. Then Wallace loses it. Bryant comes back, and he loses it again.
No one, you know, you're taught that in grade school. When a player is pushing the ball up, your teammates have to yell, ball, just so you know someone's behind you. Wow. Another offensive rebound, more clock used. I can safely say this game is over.
nobody knows anything. Lakers are supposed to sweep, but then Detroit wins the first game, and then they're going to win the second game, but the Lakers have a little miracle, and Detroit's too downtrodden coming in tonight, and now they're going to win. Nobody knows squat.
No, and I will tell you this. After watching Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals, Al, I kept saying, you guys are missing a great defensive team. And now we know. You know, the question going into this game and in this series, was it bad offense or was it great defense? We have the answer thus far. It's great defense, and it's the Pistons. You know, I also said earlier, every time the Lakers have lost, it's that the Lakers didn't play well, or that the Lakers, it's something about the Lakers. This has nothing to do with the Lakers, this game. This was great Detroit Pistons defense.
And very often, as we know, it's a combination of factors that leads us to the final result. We can tell you that you can tune into NBA TV immediately following every NBA Finals game. They have full post-game coverage, including live press conferences.
You know, you look at Game 4, and number one is they have to get Kobe Bryant involved. Number two, they have to stop transition, and they have to control the pick and roll. And the biggest question is if Karl Malone can play. He gets a couple extra days of rest.
Hamilton to the hoop. Rip Hamilton exploding tonight for 29 points. 3 minutes to play. Walton.
Back at the Palace of Auburn Hills with the head coach of the Detroit Lions. I almost said Pistons, but you probably wish you had the Pistons defense going on here in Detroit, don't you, Steve Mariucci?
This defense has been like this all year. They're relentless. They contest every shot. And the Lakers are finding out how hard we play and physical we play. It's a great matchup with Ben Wallace, and this is a great place to play basketball now.
And now you're saying the defense we play, you're a convert, I guess.
Detroit is a great sports town, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic, and it's we. And we back each other. You got Steve Eiserman here with hockey. You got baseball and Ellen Tremmel, and we support each other.
Why do you think people were so quick to underestimate Detroit coming into these finals, not realizing that it was defense that was winning for them?
Well, you got the Lakers with the Hall of Famers and the recent history of success, and we haven't been here in 14 years. But lately, the Pistons have been making the climb, and we're ready. This is the year. And Larry Brown's doing a heck of a job, and it's a fun team to watch.
And so now, Al, we look toward the NFL season. I'm sure Steve Mariucci is hoping for some of this defense to rub off on his Lions. Back to you.
That would be good, because with Joey Harrington, good young talent offensively, Steve trying to lead him back, and I'll bet you he will before too long.
Well, I think he can use Rip Hamilton as a receiver, because he tends to get open a lot.
Hamilton. Cook gets the rebound. Hamilton tonight has 31 points. Phillips, 19 points. 50 for those two guys. From way outside, Kareem Rush hits a three. Lakers have, again, two guys in double figures, as has been the case in each of the games. Just two. And you know the two.
That's why Ben Wallace is a big man. That last play was just some of the worst ball handling I've seen in a long time.
Milicic becomes the youngest player now, their #1 draft choice, who sparingly plays, but he's going to come into the game at 18 years old. Let's go to Stewart.
Al, Darko Milicic, if you look closely, he's not the skinny kid he was when he was drafted. Ben Wallace told me he took Darko into the weight room early this season, and he said the guy just stayed there. He thought Darko might wilt under Ben's workout regime. It didn't happen, and Ben even told me, and sometimes I'll catch him flexing in the mirror. He's now flexing as an 18-year-old in an NBA Finals game.
I watch him work out before every single game, and I know right now Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, they're all going to be great and continue to be great. But I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you this kid is going to be a special player. And
you, as the coach of the Celtics, will get a lot of looks at him in the Eastern Conference.
Well, actually, I hope not. I hope he keeps sitting right where he's at.
Down to 63 seconds remaining. So the Pistons, in a series in which we're already guaranteed 5 games, the Pistons have guaranteed at least, at worst, a 6-game for themselves if the Lakers win one here. Brian Russell now comes in as the Lakers empty the bench.
And this is where I don't like the 2-3-2 format. You know, as horrible as the Lakers have been tonight, and more it's been because of the Pistons defense, I just think it's really difficult to win 3 games in a row against any good team. And that's what the Pistons have to do to avoid going back to L.A.
No home team has ever won the middle 3 games, which is something the Pistons are going to try to do, and if they can do it, they can begin to celebrate here in Michigan after Tuesday night's game. You know, the downside to it, Doc, on the other side would be the travel, because you know it's east against west. It's probably coast to coast or close to it.
And that makes it difficult.
And the reason it's 2-2, 1-1-1 in the earlier rounds is because of geography more than anything else. Eastern Conference, Western Conference.
And that's because every year it was the Lakers against Boston or the Lakers against Philadelphia, and that was a long flight.
Off the side of the board, the Pistons get the rebound, though. Instead of running out, the clock goes through, puts it up. Only question left is, can they hold the Lakers to under 70, which would be an all-time Laker playoff franchise low in the shot clock era. And the Pistons have held a lot of teams under 70 this year.